Welcome to Common Threads, everyone. This is our inaugural episode where we introduce the first of our Kindrels, and I have to say, she really sets the tone for what we hope to accomplish here. I'm still getting my bearings, I'm likely talking too much, but I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure you will too. Let's meet our first Kindrel, the amazing people. So today, we have Malaika with us. If you would, introduce yourself.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Malaika Caldwell. I'm happy to be here.
What do you do here at Kindrel?
So, I am the sole benefits counsel. So, I'm a lawyer in the legal department. I am in the labor and employment group, and I do employee benefits and executive compensation. So, there's an area of law that most people don't know. It's called ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act. And it's basically the federal law that governs employee benefits. So, the benefits that Kyndryl provides to our employees. So, medical, dental, 401k benefits, any equity plan benefits for our executives under the executive compensation plan. I manage all of those, and my clients are really HR. So, really specifically the benefits group and the compensation group here at Kyndryl.
Cool. So our talking here has come about because as I have prepared for other efforts within Kindrel, I've had the opportunity to come across lots of people. And you stood out because uh, you've been here at Kindrel for what, a little under a year?
Yes, I started in March.
Started in March, we're in October.
Uh-huh.
But when I say I was seeing you everywhere, I was like, this woman's level of engagement is unreal. And I'm particularly thankful for it because it actually is like it spurred me meeting a lot of great people. Um, but I guess the first question is, what has you so excited about Kindrel? Your level of engagement is off the charts.
So I think I'm just naturally one of those people that feel like, when I joined Kendra in March. So this is my first kind of surround into the technical field. So I would hear a lot of acronyms and different things thrown out to me like the first week, and I was like, okay, I need to figure out exactly what Kyndryl does, right?
Right.
So I need to, and the only way to do that is to connect with the people. So I started reaching out to people, getting on calendars, saying, hey, you don't know me, but your name came up. I think it would be great to talk. I want to learn more about Kyndryl, learn more about what you do. So I'm just one of those people that is kind of just, I believe in being proactive and just kind of getting out there and meeting people. And that's the only way, that's the best way I learn, is just connecting with people. So, through the course of that, I met some great people, and then they connected me with other people. And it just kind of, went from there.
And so, pivoting off of that, I look at Kyndryl, and the thing that has me excited most now is the people. It is realizing that we have people with deep technical backgrounds, some of them built over decades, literally. And that's one area of strength for Kyndryl. Then we have those that are wildly engaged. And I see it across some of the IDE groups, some of the different sales groups, the security teams. You have a lot of really engaged people, and that gives us a pretty big leverage as a company, which is awesome, right? There is, it changes how you view Kyndryl's potential when you start to talk with people like yourself. It's not just that they are good at their job. They wouldn't be here if they weren't, right? It is that they're so passionate about it. And that's amazing for me.
Yes,
Um,
I
and you
agree.
said, something you said is this is something that's naturally you. Um, yeah, sometimes you can't build that thing. You just have to find the right people that already have it. But I feel like there's challenges that you meet and overcome to become this person, right? You can share your successes, and we know that you've done great things. One of my favorite questions is that what are the challenges that have been meaningful to you? I don't know if people stop to think about the meaningful challenges, the things that we've met and overcome or been made better by for having met that challenge. Is there something for you that comes to mind?
Yeah, there are a couple things. The first one started really, really young. I would say before my professional career started, my freshman year of college. So I'm a, self-pronounced. I was a daddy's girl, right? If my dad was still alive, he would say he was a girl dad. So, I was very, very close to my father. He passed away my freshman year of college. So I left school for a semester, or I was supposed to leave school for a semester. That turned into almost a year. And I had gotten to the point where, I was depressed. I was just kind of like, I don't want to do this anymore because he was always my cheerleader. He was the one, anytime I said I wanted a new book to read or I wanted to learn something, he was always pushing me. So losing him, I kind of lost that drive and ambition. I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer. He was, kind of spearheading that, connecting with people. So losing him close, very close to my mom, but at that time I was again a true dad, girl, daddy's girl. So losing him, I kind of took a step back, was like, I don't know if I want to go back to school. I don't really know what I want to do. And my mom was like, he wouldn't be happy. You know what he would want you to do. So do it for him. So a part of that, pushing myself to get back out there and get back in school and to finish what I had started, was kind of, I took that drive and that kind of emotion that I felt of losing him and pushed it and kind of propelled it into studying and finishing my college career. And then, so fast forward to graduating from law school, taking the bar exam. I took it twice. I took it in Illinois, and then I moved to Indianapolis, where I worked at the first firm. So I had to take the Indiana bar exam as well. Got into the law firm, big mid-sized big law, and I was like, what the heck am I doing, right? I felt for a while that I had that kind of imposter syndrome, so to speak, where I felt inadequate, like I wasn't supposed to be there, right? I didn't deserve to be there. If like, I think legal field is a lot like the technical field, where there are not a lot of Black, representation there. I think it's less than 2% Black women in big law firms, especially. So that was that. And then I practice an area of law where there's less than half of that 1% are Black, and then
Right.
Black women. So I was kind of felt like I was on an island by myself. I was starting to question myself and whether I could do it. Employee benefits or ERISA law is a very complex technical area of law. I'm reading the tax code, the federal tax code a lot. ERISA is a body of law. So it's very technical. And then there's not a lot of people that do it. So as a new Black associate in the law firm, I didn't feel like I had people that I, could go to say, to ask this, what I felt were the stupid questions that I felt like I should know, right? So it's that whole imposter syndrome. But I connected with my mentor, and his advice, and he's a white male, right? His advice to me was, Malaika, do what you've been doing. Trust yourself. Don't change the formula unless it needs to be changed. What got you here, everything that you've done to get here, are the same things that you need to do to be great in this profession. I went back to the basics. Is studying, is reading up on the laws, because it changes pretty much. It feel like every week. I felt like it was changing. Um, Reaching out, telling the partner that I reported to, like, I want to go to this conference, I want to go to this training, just becoming a sponge again and absorbing everything I could. But it also was my connecting with people, whether, even though they weren't people in my particular practice group. In the Black community, we always talk about it takes a village. And that's, outside of work, but professionally, I think also it takes a village. And so I call them my tribe. So I found a few other Black associates and other practice groups that we all have that common thread, or that common, the commonalities are there, and the same issues that I was facing, they were also facing. So connecting with people that are also going through the same things you're going through. So you have that kind of that support, that tribe, that village, that you can kind of grow together and figure things out and connecting with. So it was really just getting back to the basics and connecting with people. But I think that challenge of not feeling like you deserve to be there, I think as Black professionals, we struggle and deal with that a lot more than our colleagues and counterparts. So I think just having that connection, having those people that you can go to, having mentors. I'm really big on having mentors. And I think it's important to know that a lot of times people think that the mentor has to look like you, and they don't. A lot of times they won't, right? And they shouldn't. So I think understanding that, and just trusting yourself, I think was kind of how I overcame those challenges.
So the funny thing is, your energy was like, I want Malaika to be the first episode. And I think you showcased why in a big way. We call this the common thread that, and maybe that's what I'm getting at when I asked that particular question about what challenges have you overcome? Because I think there's a lot of common ground there that we don't always recognize. Um, the imposter syndrome. I have never met someone in the technical field, unless your father owned a technical company and you were doing that since you were 6, right? I have never met someone in this field that at some point in their career did not have that imposter syndrome. And it's regardless of background. When you're in something truly technical and you're working with brilliant people, or you're doing something hard and you're watching someone that is a master at this thing, right? They make it look easy. And so you're like, oh, should I already know that? Or, you don't know. So I think that's a common thread that a lot of us can connect to. And the second hits a little closer to the heart for me. My fiance described it as becoming part of a club you didn't know existed. I lost my father earlier this year. And before my father passed, I would tell people, I would give the same platitudes that everyone gives, right? Oh, I'm sorry for your loss or whatever. And you feel sad for the person, but it feels different when you go through it. There is suddenly a hole left in the world that wasn't there before, and it can't be filled. And it's another one of those things that I am sure across Kyndryl, there are far too many of us that can absolutely relate. And to pick yourself up after that. I study Buddhism, and one of the things they talk about is sometimes we cause our own suffering, that we want something to not be so badly that we get stuck on that point. But there's something life affirming about picking yourself back up and going forward. And
The
anyone that
common
has been
thread
through
is
that
what we named
and is
this
here
video
has
series.
done precisely that. Big thank you to Lisa Kay, because there are so many things in the challenges. We may not all have the same successes, but there's a common thread in the challenges, and it's not just in the challenges, right? It's in the skill sets, the knowledge, the intelligence, the things that we bring forward. So something you shared was about a partner giving you advice that didn't look like you, but it was sound advice. And you mentioned the importance of mentors. Have there been other great people that you've looked at that have sort of taken you under their wings and helped guide you along your journey? Do you have someone like that here at Kyndryl?
Yes, so I've had a couple people. It's funny that you mentioned like you looking up to brilliant people that have been doing it for a long time. So one of the first partners I worked for at the first firm, she had worked for the IRS and was on Capitol Hill for so many years in the benefit space as a legislator, and then she had been practicing. She actually helped write some of the ERISA, the law that was passed in 1976. So she's been doing it forever, and she could, take a client, would give her a question, and she would just rattle off, the answer. And I was like, it would take me 80 hours of research to do it, right? So she was one though that said, help me take a step back and to say, you'll get to where I am one day, but keep in mind that I've been doing this for over 40 plus years, right? And so, but she was great in just kind of helping me from the professional technical side of my role. Here at Kyndryl, Newsy Sayani, she is in leadership in our legal group, and she's my mentor, woman of color out of London. And she was assigned to me as a mentor, but I'm a Christian and I believe in divine interventions and connections. So things work the way they're supposed to. And it's so crazy that when our first meeting, she was like, when I saw your name, Malaika, I was like, I have to meet her. She was like, because I always said if I had a daughter, I would name her Malaika. She's like, do you know what your name means? I was like, yes, it means angel. She was like, yeah. So she was like, we were supposed to connect. And she's been absolutely wonderful. In just the first conversation, she gave me her imposter syndrome story of when she was at IBM and moving up the ranks into
Right.
leadership. She felt the same thing. So everything that I told her, and I hadn't even told her my imposter syndrome backstory.
Right.
So just having that common thread, being a woman of color, and just she's been really instrumental in just in a short amount of time of just helping me connect with people, just reaffirming what I already know. And so just making sure that she sends me every day, she sends me little like whether it's a podcast or just a quote, something to encourage me and to keep me going. And we also last week we made a pact that we're going to take 30 minutes each day, like a mindfulness, to kind of step away from our laptops and phones and just do something we enjoy, whether that's listening to some music or listening to a podcast or online shopping. We realized um, we both love dearly, but
Right.
just taking a little me time every day to make sure that, because if you're not whole, you can't give yourself to other
Yeah.
people, so into your job. So
Yeah.
she's
That's a
been
great
great.
point. I need to take that lesson.
Yes,
Uh,
we all
sometimes,
do.
yeah, we really all do. I think everyone can relate both to the need to do it and probably the lack of doing it if you're not intentional about it. That I will find myself, I was already burning the candle at both ends, and I start burning it in the middle, and someone has to step in and be like, maybe you should take a moment for yourself. And it's like, oh, yeah, I probably should, huh? But you kind of get geared in. Um, I love the fact that you've been here such a short amount of time. Um, but your impact is like, oh yeah, Malaika's been around here like 4 or 5 years. Like, wait, no? I think that's wonderful. A lot of this comes out of just who you are, which is beautiful. Um, Sometimes the other things that uh, make us who we are, part of who we are, right, is our passions. What do we do for fun? So that's the next question is, what do
Yeah.
you do for fun? I heard some of it in there. But what do you do for fun? What interests you? Like what kind of things do you enjoy?
Yeah, so I am my two loves. If anyone knows me closely, they'll know our music. So I actually went to a concert last night on a Sunday night, so that's a little rough. But I absolutely love music. So Chicago is really big in the summer on music festivals. There's tons of things to do music wise. There's always concerts. So I do a lot of music festivals, concerts, and things of that nature. I think my favorite one to date is I went to see Beyonce at Coachella a
Wow.
few years ago. So that was an epic experience. I don't have to do Coachella again ever, but it was worth it. The chaos was worth it. And then
Yeah.
my other thing is being a sneakerhead. And it's so funny that I mentor some girls here in Chicago, and one of their parents came to me and was like, could you mentor, talk to my daughter? And I told her, like, Malika is true to herself. Like, she practices law, she's a lawyer, but she'll show up in sneakers. And and that's very true. So I went to the our Kendall, New York office headquarters a few months ago. And I had my dress on, but I had, Nike, I'm a big Nike person. I had my Air Jordans on. And it was like people were commenting that, I'm used to like the strange looks. I love my heels as well, but I love my sneakers. So I walk in, and then my manager Ann was like, oh, you have to meet Glenn, who is in the leadership in our legal department. He's the managing partner. He's also a sneakerhead. So I looked down and he had on Nike Air Forces. So I was like, and, it was a kindred connection and moment that I think is just amazing. So now he and I chat often. He'll ping me and ask me what sneakers, what kicks I have on for today, and I'll send him a picture. He'll send me one. So I think it's amazing to have that connection. So yeah, those are my hobbies. I also music wise, I collect vinyl records and I play the guitar, which I haven't done as much lately. But yeah, music and sneakers are my thing.
That is very, very cool.
Yes.
I'll have to put up something to explain to folks what a sneakerhead is.
Yes, yes. Add the little definition in the
Right.
corner. Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's actually a really
It's a
big community.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah, folks don't realize like sneakerheads isn't, it may have started in the US, it's not just a US thing.
No.
Like
Mhm.
literally worldwide, you can
Yes.
find sneakerheads. France, Abu Dhabi, everywhere. Like there
Oh,
are
yes.
like I mean quite literally everywhere. I've traveled a lot through Europe, through Asia. You will find sneakerhead folks coming together pretty often. If that's your thing, you can absolutely find it.
I will definitely say I met someone when I was in Thailand a few years ago. I connected with someone I didn't know, and he stopped me literally on the street and talked about my sneakers. I looked at his, and yeah, so we stay in touch from a sneaker perspective. So that is very true.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Running out of time here. Um, First, thank you for being part of Kindle. I think that the passion and engagement that you bring to the company is remarkable. I think that the interactions that you have with people tends to draw people together, to connect people. And a lot of times, I'm old Army, for whatever mission you find yourself on, if the unit has tight cohesion, it can be the most insane mission you can put in front of us, and it'll happen. It'll succeed even when all the facts on the ground says that it should not. But it's because everyone is locked in together. And it comes down to having like a few key people, right, that love to make those connections, that pulls people together. And I think you're one of them. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for all of the groups that you are helping foster along, because that's what brought me into this opportunity, and meeting a lot of amazing people here at Kendrell, yourself included. So thank you for that. Um, I I guess my last question here to close, is there anything in particular here at Kendrell that excites you right now? Is there something that you're looking forward to? Is there some challenge ahead, or some opportunity ahead for you that you're looking forward to?
I think I'm just looking forward more so to going back to the people. I think, Kyndryl is a not so new startup, but still a
Right.
startup, right? So there's all the challenges with just figuring things out and kind of stepping out of the old mindset that we had with IBM, and what is Kyndryl supposed to look like, and what do we want it to look like. So I think my biggest challenge that I've had so far is kind of pushing the system a little, because I hear, I've heard a lot, well, at IBM we did it this way. Okay, that's great, but that I
Right.
challenge people to look, okay, maybe that wasn't the best way to do it. Maybe it's time to take a fresh look and be more efficient, fast, focus, all of our Kendra way, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that's my challenge of, I think, and it's also great that I'm coming in with a fresh from the outside,
Right.
in a different perspective. So I think that's been that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, is just kind of creating the Kendra way and how we should do things in my particular practice. And then I think also just with Beacon, going back to it, I know what helped me get to where I am, and it was the people, it was the mentors, it was people stepping in and kind of taking me under their wing, and that village, right? And so I think as one of the co-chairs of Beacon, that was what excited me the most, and I volunteered to be a chair, was because I understand the importance of having people that look like you, that have been through the same things, that are kind of senior in their profession, to say, okay, let's connect, let's be a collective, let's be a community, and let's push one another and help one another along the way. So creating that family within Beacon, and that village, I hope, is what I hope comes and grows with it.
I'm sure it will. I think Beacon is something beautiful, and I think thanks to people like you, Kendrell is going to be something beautiful as well.
I think
So much.
I do.
Thank you, Malaika. I don't know if you have to roll off or not.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Man. Yeah, it's the funny thing, man. You bring up things, and I you have to know. I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of connection that people may not look like you or sound like you, but boy, some of the things that you're bringing up, when I say like everybody can relate to this, every woman in technology, I have never met a single woman that's not like, oh, I kind of feel imposter syndrome. And I'm like, sis,
Yes.
I,
As a male.
yeah, I'm going to tell you, it's not because you're a woman. It's because,
Right.
A, this is hard. B,
Yes.
there's some brilliant people here. And C, you're just starting. When I just started, I swear I probably spent like 5 or 6 years being like, I mean, I'm trying. You know, I hope I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the truth was, I was doing okay, right? I was gathering knowledge, I was gathering skills. And when I arrived at that place where everyone can kind of look and be like, okay, when it comes to threat intelligence, this guy is sharp.
Yeah.
Like that was years in the making, right? But the funny thing is, as I was building that, I didn't notice at all.
You didn't think you were there. Right, exactly.
Right? I'm still trying to work to, there's a line from Fort Minor where he says, screw trying to be perfect, I'm trying not to be worthless. And I think that comes to the heart.
Yeah.
That comes to the heart, right, of the imposter syndrome, where it's like, I can't even think about being perfect. Like, I'm scared that I'm not worth anything in this role. Like I'm, you know, you're trying, and it's just the imposter syndrome, right? There's that early period where, dude, you're just learning. That's just part.
Right.
But like everybody, and I mean, like I said, unless you are the son of, I don't know, Wozniak or something, right? Where you've been doing this since you were 2. Right. Everyone else, right? We come into whatever we're gonna do, and you're just like, dude, I might be in the wrong place. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. The thing about losing your father, that one hit home, man. That one. Yeah, when my father passed, in my head, I was kind of constantly saying, stay on mission, stay on mission. I was a soldier. My father was a soldier, and I just kind of, I think I mentally thought about it as if one of my battle buddies had fallen. And so I know he wants to be buried next to his mom. And so whatever I have to do to make these things happen, there's a lot of logistics or whatever, but I made that my thing. And I think I jumped into work because I thought I would be swallowed up by the grief, you know? And so it's like my kind of, right? It was my running away is the honest thing, right? It caught up with me later.
Yeah.
Hard.
It always does.
It does, right?
Yeah.
But that's another one of those things where, like, honestly, I think you could have a grief group in Kindle and it would be filled to the gills. No joke.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is a common thread, and it's the ugly common thread. No one wants to talk about it.
No one wants to talk about it, right?
No one wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
It does not change the truth of it. It is that common thread that's like an ugly sun. Oh, it's going to rise over and over and over again. And if you are blessed to have not come to that one just yet, I'm sorry, deeply.
Yeah.
But this is life, right?
Right.
And that one's a big one. That is a remarkable challenge. You were smart to take the time. I deal with PTSD from the military. And at the time, I didn't have the words for what was the root cause of my PTSD, and it was grief. Yeah. And so my father passing re-triggered everything. And so like I had to have a reckoning with it. Man, that one's a deep one. That one, yeah. I cannot even begin to imagine how many people you connect with on just that one point, because there's a lot of truth and depth there. And the funny thing is, you can't say that it's the hurt is caused by grief. It's not. The grief is caused by love.
I agree.
You love this person so much. They've been literally a fixture in the world, and suddenly they're not there. And it just, it's like someone came and kicked a black hole into your world, and you're like, dude, can no one see this thing? This is huge. Yeah. Thank you for that, man. This is why I wanted to do this, man. I'm so appreciative of you being episode 1, because it sets the tone in a big, big way, man. Um, the vulnerability and what is shared, you shared it with a smile, but I'm in the club. I
Yeah.
didn't want to be, but I'm in the club, and so there's a knowing that comes with it, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, a beautiful setting to the tone of what this can be.
Good.
And I think the other talk I did, people kind of shied away from touching on the Black experience in the corporate world.
Mhm.
I think it's a habit we have. I think you not doing so, when I say you set the tone beautifully, I mean it from the heart, man. Like you
Thank
are,
you. Thank
yeah,
you.
you're hitting on all cylinders in a way that matters. Something I said earlier today, um, sometimes there's things that we all know,
Mhm.
but we can't see it. We can't deal with it until someone has the ability to verbalize it. When you
Mhm.
capture it in words, all of a sudden you're like, yes,
Yeah,
that,
that's what.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you did today.
Yeah.
That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
So I
Thank you.
appreciate that, man. So this was cool. Man, I don't know what this will become or grow into, but I'm hopeful.
I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
I'm
awesome.
excited. I think it's gonna be really, really awesome. I
Yeah.
do think it's gonna take off.
Yeah, I think this will be cool. And from the talking with Daniel Hunter, he's our leadership committee chair.
Mhm.
We need to have Ken talks too. So
I
maybe
agree.
that's another thing I spearhead, because
Yeah.
something he said will make an awesome first Ken talk. So he's an associate partner in Kyndryl,
Mhm.
and very technical background and SAP and stuff like that. Very technical guy, does sales, but his background is art. Super technical
Really?
guy that does, te- but his background is art from like sixth grade to 12th grade, and he knew
Oh
all these
wow.
artists, and he thought, man, I'm looking at my portfolio, and I'm not on that level, and a lot of artists don't make a lot, right?
Don't make a lot, right? Yeah.
So he's like, I'm not even that good
Right.
comparatively speaking. I suspect
Yeah.
he's remarkable,
He's
right?
right.
But when you're looking at the experts, right,
Yeah.
you're not. Um, but he said, I look at his hobby as art, and he looks at everything as art. Cooking, sales, public speaking, everything is an art when you get at the highest level. When you
Mhm.
understand, and even law. And when he said it, I was like, I can see that, right? You'll have a lawyer that is taking a case, but they have a deep understanding, but they understand the law to such a degree, they're like, actually, just take care of this one thing. Right? I think Abraham Lincoln was like that. I'm just going to address this one thing right here, and if this one thing isn't true, everything falls apart. So the other side, right, has this elaborate case, and he just pokes a
Right.
hole in it with one finger. Yeah,
One
but
thing
this,
totally destroys it. Yep. Blows it
artistry.
up. Mhm.
I was like,
Mhm.
that should be a Ken talk, man. That would be cool. I want to be a part of the things that I will want to watch or listen
Yeah.
to here.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's the thing here. Like, you're awesome, man. If if,
Thank
if
you.
I if I ever get to hang out, I'll buy you a beer or something, or
Yeah.
whatever your drink of choice is. Yeah, this is cool.
Well, thank you so much. No, thank you for doing this. I think it is a wonderful, wonderful idea. And I'm excited to see I'm excited to see it flourish. So yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So
thank
yeah,
you much.
anything you need, yeah, I appreciate it. Your enthusiasm is contagious, so I appreciate it.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Well, you take care. Have a great
Too.
day and a great
All
week.
right.
We'll be in touch.
Okay. Safe travels.